Hello, and welcome to the Mary Black School of Nursing. My name is Suzanne Sutton. I am a clinical instructor on the Spartanburg campus. Currently, I teach one first semester junior course, which is pathophysiology. I also teach a first semester senior course, 410, which is the second adult med-surg course. I also teach a clinical section in 410. The final course that I teach is a U101 course for incoming freshmen who have declared nursing as their major. In this PowerPoint presentation, we're going to discuss how nursing courses are arranged in the first semester, the nomenclature or how the courses are named, and the number of hours and prerequisites for each. Let's first discuss course identification. The course identifiers consist of 4 letters, NURS, at the beginning of each nursing course. NURS indicates that this is a nursing course. That is followed by a U. The U indicates this course is taught at USC Upstate and not at one of the other campuses. Next, we have 3 numbers. The 3 numbers indicate the actual course. All junior level courses are 300 level courses, like 306, 308, 310, 320, and 325. Some courses will have a letter after the number, and that might indicate if it's a practicum course. Practicum courses may be taught in the lab or in the hospital or in a nursing home facility. Regardless of where they're taught, in these courses, practicum courses, nursing students practice their clinical skills as well as critical thinking. Practicum courses are generally 3-hour credit courses, but at least twice that contact hours, which means if you're in a practicum or a clinical course that is 3 hours, that's considered 6 contact hours, and that means you'll spend at least 6 hours in the clinical site. Finally, the last bit of nomenclature is the number. This number here is the section number. It's important that students know what section they're in, and they put it on all their assignments, the course number and their section number on all their assignments. That way the instructors know which section you belong to. Sections are assigned to different instructors. So if you're in section 5 and I teach section 5, then I might be the one grading your papers. We'll discuss that more when we get to the courses that have more than one section. Also, indicators of sections, you might have some course if you're on the Greenville campus that is followed by a letter G. A letter G indicates that the course is taught on the Greenville campus. Please remember that you are not allowed to sign up for courses on a campus other than your home campus. A W indicates that this is a web-based course. That means that you'll have few, if any, classroom meetings. Know your section numbers and your instructors. This is very important, especially when it comes to grading and entering grades. Assigned instructors can only enter grades on students in their sections. This doesn't mean on Blackboard. This means in mysc.edu, where the grades go to the registrar's office. So you need to know your section numbers and your instructors. Multiple sections meet on the same day, so knowing the day that you meet for a certain course is not helpful to many of the instructors. One thing to remember is that almost all instructors teach in multiple courses and in some cases teach multiple sections of one course. We will discuss that later, but again, it is very important for you to know your section numbers and instructors. This information can be found on mysc.edu, and I'm going to point out some important things on mysc.edu. First, here is the nomenclature. This is Nurse U, Nursing at Upstate, U308, Section 1. This is pathophysiology for health professions. This is what we colloquially call patho. Okay, this is for the fall, and it is a 3-hour credit course. It meets 8:30 to 11:30 on Thursdays at the nursing school, which we call the Health Education Complex, or HEC, and it meets in room 2035, which is on the ground floor of the HEC. Now, if you go into the elevator entering the school, you are entering on the second floor. The floor underneath, or floor 1, is where our simulation center and the nursing student lounge is located. You will also get to see that. On the third floor is another student and faculty lounge, and also all of the faculty offices. This tells you that Mrs. Crawford is the instructor for this course. Let's talk a little bit about instructors. We have two levels of instructors. We have clinical instructors, and then we have professors. You should call all your clinical instructors Mrs., Ms., whatever they tell you, and then their last name. You can also call them professor. So you could call Ms. Crawford Professor Crawford or Mrs. Crawford. It's not very professional to call your professors or your instructors by just their last name. Okay. We also have professors who are doctorally prepared. We have Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Davis, Dr. Kennedy, Dr. Fitzsimmons, and then you have Dr. Gibb and Dr. Charnley. That's just a few of them. Those instructors, you should use the name, you should call them doctor, whatever their last name is. We also have what we call adjunct teachers, adjunct clinical instructors. Adjunct clinical instructors are instructors that work part-time for the School of Nursing, and they have to have at least 18 hours of graduate level courses. That means they must be at least 18 hours into obtaining their master's or their DNP or their PhD. Clinical instructors, full-time clinical instructors, have at least a master's in nursing, and the professors have a PhD or some other doctorate degree. There's several that they can have. So those are the types of instructors that you can have. All right, first semester courses. Introduction to Professional Nursing is 306, and we usually just call it 306. That is where you learn about what roles nurses have in the hospital. The code of ethics. We go into deep code of ethics. We talk about values. You talk about critical thinking and the nursing process. You learn all about that in Intro to Professional Nursing. 308 is pathophysiology. In general, we call that pathophysiology. 310 is health assessment. Speaks for itself. That's where you learn how to assess the patients. And we either call that health assessment or 310. 320 is the Foundations of Nursing Practicum. That's where you learn about the nursing skills and the rationales behind them. What makes a BSN different than an ADN is that BSNs understand the rationales about why they're doing something for or to a patient. That is a key concept there. We just don't do skills for the ability to do skills. We do skills to benefit patients. And then 325P is the Integrated Nursing Practicum. And what the Integrated Nursing Practicum is, this is where you go into a practice site, and that's the latter part of the semester. The beginning part of the semester, students are working in the labs for both foundations and integrations. For health assessment, foundations, and integrated nursing practicum, that you will meet sometimes down in the lab and practice your skills and linking it all together. Now, when we say integrated nursing practicum, that means that you take information from 306, 308, health assessment, and your foundations course, and you integrate it together to provide care for patients. That is what an integrated nursing practicum is. Now, Introduction to Professional Nursing. This is the description from the course catalog. And we talk about how we practice professional nursing. You're also going to talk about critical thinking skills, clinical decision making. You'll talk about test taking skills and how we present questions that are going to assess your knowledge and critical thinking. Now, your professor on the Greenville campus for this course is Dr. Dana Davis. And here on the Spartanburg campus is Mrs. Susan Cherry Casey. This is a 3-hour didactic or classroom course. Pathophysiology for health professions. This is something that I think is very important for you guys to get, because a lot of people don't understand that this is an expansion of critical thinking and understanding of the human disease process. You have to have an excellent foundation in anatomy and physiology and chemistry in order to do well in this course. That means if you don't, before you start reading about a particular organ system, pathophysiology related to a specific organ system, you may need to review normal anatomy and physiology. We build a lot off of normal function, physiology, and normal anatomy in order to teach pathophysiology. On the Greenville campus, Mrs. Sarah Brandon teaches this course. And on the Spartanburg campus, Mrs. Crawford and Mrs. Sutton, myself, teach this course. Mrs. Brandon and I have been teaching the course since the inception, and we designed the course together. Mrs. Crawford's been teaching this course for 4 semesters. We are all very knowledgeable about pathophysiology and normal anatomy and physiology, and will provide you with excellent learning opportunities. But again, I must stress, if you do not have a good foundation in normal anatomy and physiology and chemistry, you will find it difficult to do well in this course. 310 is health assessment, and health assessment also depends greatly on your knowledge of normal anatomy and physiology, because you are assessing the patient's anatomy and physiology in order to tell if they're healthy or not healthy. Okay, so you need to know that. You talk about data collection, where you take a patient's history, health history. You'll look at their family tree and their family's medical history. And then you're also going to listen, look, touch, and smell things about your patient in order to make an assessment on them. And then you have to kind of pull it all together with your knowledge of normal anatomy and physiology, what you're learning in pathophysiology, and what you're learning in health assessment in order to determine if the patient's having problems or not. Now, on the Greenville campus, Dr. Dana Davis and Mrs. Irwin teach this course. And on the Spartanburg campus, Mrs. Crawford teaches this course, and she will be assigned a co-teacher. Now, let me talk a little bit about this here, because 310 is where you start breaking down into smaller groups. There are 4 sections of health assessment. 2 sections meet together. So you'll have groups of, in Greenville, I think it's groups of around 20, 21 students, 2 groups of 21, 22 students. In Spartanburg, it's groups of 32 students. But there's 2 sections of 16 students. You will be assigned different instructors, and those instructors are your primary instructors and will be responsible for grading your papers and your assessment. Although you might be taught by one of the other instructors. So like Dr. Davis might teach a specific topic like respiratory assessment, but when you're practicing and being tested on it, you might be in Mrs. Irwin's section, and she will grade you on that. Most of the time, both instructors will be in the lab when you're practicing. This is a 3-hour course, but you should plan on spending lots of time in the lab practicing. 320P is Foundations of Nursing Practicum, and this is where you get to learn the skills like how to put a Foley catheter in, how to do a bed bath, what all you're looking for and doing when you give a bed bath, how to perform oral care, how to help feed a patient. And I understand that many of you may already work in the healthcare field as patient care associates or CNAs, but this is different. What we do in nursing is a little different because we're looking and assessing and critical thinking and making and drawing conclusions all of the time. So while you're performing a skill, you need to look at the patient and determine the effectiveness of what you're doing, meaning does it positively affect the patient, negatively affect the patient, and also assessing your patient while you're doing the skills. Okay? This is a 3 contact hour course, meaning you get 3 credits for it. I'm sorry, let's go back. It's a 3 credit hour course, but it is a 6 contact hour course, meaning that you will spend at least 6 hours in the classroom and lab each week for this course. Now, on the Greenville campus, there are 6 sections of 320P, and on the Spartanburg campus, there are 8 sections. Some of the instructors teach more than one section, but you will see multiple instructors participating in the teaching of this course. In Greenville campus, Mrs. Stotling and Mrs. Shue teach this course, and on the Spartanburg campus, Dr. Davis and Mrs. Camp teach this course. Now, 325P is the Integrated Nursing Practicum. This is where you pull together all of your learning and knowledge from the other 4 courses. That's 306, which is Introduction to Professional Nursing, 308, which is Pathophysiology for Health Professions, 310, Health Assessment, and 320, which is the Skills course. Okay, we call it a Skills course, but you have to remember, you need to understand what's going on with each of those skills that you're learning to do and determine what the effect is. Now, so the 325P, again in Greenville, there's 6 sections, and in Spartanburg, there's 8 sections. Part of this course is spent down in the lab, and part of this course is spent in a healthcare facility. On the Greenville campus, your instructors are Mrs. Poindexter, Mrs. Shue, Ms. Elrod, Ms. Stotling, and Ms. Irwin. And on the Spartanburg campus, Dr. Angie Davis, Mrs. Elm, Mrs. Cherry Casey, Ms. Rutherford, Ms. Wilkes, and Ms. Volker. Why do we recommend not working full-time? Well, you're taking 15 credit hours, and you have 21 contact hours. Now, the recommendation is for undergraduate coursework, you spend a minimum of 3 hours outside of class studying and learning and doing assignments. So, You have 3 per credit hour times 15, so 3 hours per credit hour. That equals 45 hours outside of class that you should spend learning. This includes your readings, studying for tests, and completing assignments. And you spend 21 hours, at least 21 hours in class and clinicals. You add that to the 45, that is 66 hours out of your week that you are spending on nursing school. 66 hours a week. Okay? Now, I understand that leaves a lot of time to work, but you also need to think about what makes for an optimum learning experience, and that means that you're well rested and that you've had time to relax, okay? So you need to think about that you can't work all the time, work or go to school all the time, and not be able to sleep and not be able to have some relaxation. It's very difficult to learn when you're sleepy or when you're wound up and stressed. So, it is a lot. That's a lot of hours. How can you get through it? Stay organized. Fix your calendar. Put down every assignment that you have and schedule your time to study. Schedule it. Don't say, well, I'll study when I'm not doing this or not doing that. Stay organized. Set up an area for you to study and learn in your house, in your dorm room, in your apartment, wherever it is. This is where I study. And talk to your, don't get behind. Do not get behind. Start your readings as soon as you know what they are. And don't get behind. Nursing school is 2 years out of your life that's going to determine your life course. Don't get behind. And talk to your family, significant others, and employers now and tell them that nursing school is going to come first. It is a priority right now, and you need to focus on nursing school so that they are aware of what's going on and they're not surprised. An important point, each assignment is a learning experience opportunity, not just a task. If we assign a reading, we expect you to learn from the readings, not just go check it off on your to-do list. You are expected to read for learning. You are expected to complete assignments so that they demonstrate your learning. Assessments like homework assignments, quizzes, exams, that's how we evaluate your knowledge. I understand that you need to study for, there's lots of courses and there's lots of assignments, but you need to be able to effectively demonstrate your knowledge through your assignments and through quizzes and tests. And the best way to do that is to treat each assignment as a learning opportunity. Don't just say, oh, well, I filled this out. I copied it out of the book and I filled out this template, but I didn't really learn anything from it. Oh, I read these 5 pages, but I can't remember what I read. That is not the way to learn. Don't treat each assignment as a task. Learn from each assignment. I look forward to meeting all of you, and I wish you the best of luck.